Sadistic Penguin Studios presents the At the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
And Tony Chalsa Burt.
I don't know this industry jargon, YP, MP, whatever, okay? All I know is that I cannot get a record contract. We cannot get a record contract unless I take these tapes.
It's almost time, so grab a drink, get your popcorn ready, and join the film discussion with two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the At the Show podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Yumper Garcia, and I'm with my other co-host, Tony the Sugar Baggy Burt. How you doing, Mr. Burt?
Doing good. I was just over here imagining how if I try to play that piano live in the studio for us, like like our intro, but yeah, probably
All right.
would not sound as good as that does. I miss you, even though it's only been a week. So how are you, my man?
I'm well. You should buy now a little piano and play it for us.
I think I'm going to just find even a cheap little Casio just to have over here for some side. Well,
every time I hear Casio, I think of plane, trains, and automobiles. Ooh, Casio. Doing really well, man. This has been a hell of a week. Today was a technology nightmare, as you can tell with my stuttering. I had a lot of issues with work and my phone, so screw you, Apple. But everything is repaired and fixed. But it was a headache.
That is definitely anything that has to do with the phone these days, because it's our main tool of communication. It sucks.
Yes, extremely. But I'm really excited to talk some movies with you this week in our normal schedule. We're starting a little early because it is summertime.
Well, I'm glad your phone got fixed, because I would hate for you to be like Colin Farrell in phone booth.
Is there even any phone booths around?
No, but that would just be making even that much more sucky for you to be Colin Farrell.
To be honest, have you ever seen a phone booth? I know there's one, I think on Division Street, but I think it works, but it's more of a novelty. I don't think I've ever seen a phone booth. I've seen pay phones, but never a phone booth.
Not like the cool ones you see in the movies. No, not like that. Not the ones that Superman runs in and runs right out of. Nothing like that.
I wonder when they stop making those. That's the kind of stuff we talk about here, guys. So we have a fun show for you today. We're going to go over some movies that were actually either based in the summer or released in the summer for summer slashers. This is to coincide with the new release of I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I believe is just a sequel with the same name. So that just got released last weekend. And there's a lot of uproar about how Jennifer Love Hewitt looks, which I don't understand why, but
stupid.
She looks fine to me, but
yeah, I mean, again, what I'm learning is that people are just really picking for anything. I mean, she's a mother, as my wife pointed out, she's a mother of three. You know what I mean? You know, let's give her props for coming back and acting. You know, let's not put her down. But
definitely, I mean, the internet's just always.
I'm not mad.
Very much,
basically,
so. Very much so.
All right, but with that tone, let's go into our regular segment here and do the what we have been watching.
That's a me. And also, what were you just watching?
So what were you watching, Tone?
Let's get we'll start with the family friendly of the two here. The Minecraft movie. I hadn't watched this movie at the movie theater. I know you saw it at the movie theater, correct? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes, I did.
Sophia's watched this movie now about eight times all the way through every morning before she goes to preschool. This is what her movie of choice lately, and I finally gave it the time of day because I wasn't going to give it the time of day, and I said, you know what, your daughter likes it, let's give it the time of the day. And honestly, I'm glad I did. It's a fun little movie. Honestly, I could sit here and praise Jack Black for forever. I mean, I just think he just a fun guy. I mean, you can't say that guy's ever been a problem on a movie set. because he wouldn't be getting all these, I think, roles like Minecraft and Jumanji if he was like some jerk or something. He's really got to be true to his character, which is being a nice guy. But the movie itself, I was shocked to find that the director, Jared Hess, this is the guy who did Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, not two of my favorite movies, but to see that I always like a director that you could see the simplicity of the beginnings to this Minecraft movie. I don't know much about the game, so watching this movie, to me, it's about as sporadic as a movie I've ever seen. And I think the first time I watched it, I hated it for that reason. But then I said to myself, okay, look at this a different way. Let's come into this as more of an open mind, why people like this. And I had fun with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And again, Jason Momoa as the trash man, it does a good job. Always a fan of just having a good time, and definitely enjoyed this one.
Yeah. So I hear about Minecraft every day. My son's actually playing it right now. He is obsessed with Minecraft.
That's awesome.
So when we took him, he was so excited, me, my wife, and I. And he wasn't like screaming in the theater, but like every time something happened that he recognized, he would lean over and tell me and my wife about it.
That's awesome.
I was there when they did the chicken jockey scene, but they didn't throw anything at the screen. I didn't even know that was a thing until later. We went right when it opened, so yeah, it was nothing crazy. But I don't know anything about the game. I mean, I get told about it all the time. I am a menace to Minecraft, as my son says, because all I do is blow up the TNT in it and blow up buildings. So he says I'm a menace to the Minecraft world. But he loved it. The movies actually wasn't that bad. It was actually enjoyable and funny. Jason Momoa was good. Jack Black was awesome. Although he's kind of losing his neck because he's but I love Jack Black. But yeah, it was corny.
The music is great in it. Lava chicken.
He made a song off Lava Chicken. I think it was like number 8 or something in the world, off like a 30-second like clip. But it was fun. I'm glad the kids liked it, and now there's going to be a sequel apparently. So.
When Katie's going around singing these songs, it's definitely made an impact on the house. Very good. And honestly, I want to shout out to Jennifer Coolidge too. Mm-hmm. Her little role in this, everything she's had in ever since being Stifler's mom. And honestly, I have to look that up, that's actually her, because she's come such a long way from just being that label. She does a great job in this. One of the villagers escapes, and she kind of like takes him in. And honestly, the interaction is ridiculous. And just really some really good voices. Matt Berry, who plays that from Always the Shadows, Dark in the Shadows. What is on FX?
What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, there we go. He plays the voice of this villager, and just a really good laugh performance, some other little things. I liked it. I was shocked. I liked it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Next up, which was the total flip side, was The Wolf of Wall Street. This came on Paramount Showtime the other night, and haven't watched this movie in a long time. Right before it was The Aviator. Before we go into this, Aviator was right before that, and I like that movie. So I was like, I haven't watched The Wolf of Wall Street in a long time. I wanted to watch it, and immediately I thought to myself, if the Penguin ever has an office, it's got to resemble pretty close to the office they had at Oakmont Belfour in the movie. Just the fun that they were. No, I'm just kidding. That would probably be our wives who get really upset at that. But just a really good movie. Leonardo DiCaprio does a great job. I think he is excellent in this performance. Along with everyone else in the movie. It's a fun Martin Scorsese movie that, honestly, I have repeated too many lines from it all week that I might get myself in trouble.
Yeah, my internet went out there for a second while you were talking.
Oh, did it? Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying that our, if you missed it, our Penguin Studios should resemble their office in there. But then I said, our wives probably wouldn't like that too much. But
no.
that being said, though, if there's ever a movie that I wanted to, if you could be an avatar in it and just live in a movie and escape it at the end, it would be this one. They have a lot of fun in this movie. Some of the lines he says is great. The performances are just awesome all around.
Yeah, the performances are really good. The characters are like really, really interesting. Just the guy, Jordan Belfort, he's a complete piece of trash person.
Oh, yes.
In real life. But the movie was enjoyable. I thought Jonah Hill was actually excellent in the film.
He was.
Yeah, he actually got slapped in the face for real with his fake teeth, by Scorsese. But it's a funny movie. It's an enjoyable movie. I think Scorsese and Leo are kind of hit or miss for me sometimes. But in this film, I actually really enjoyed it.
Where do you think they miss?
Just sometimes, like, I think he drags on a little bit, Scorsese. I didn't like the Avatar.
Oh, you didn't like Aviator?
Avatar. I like Aviator. The Avatar. What the hell's wrong with me? I didn't like Aviator that much. The Irishman. Well, I mean, that's not with the Leo, but yeah, I thought it was like the Aviator. I thought was like a little too dragged down a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, they're long pictures, but again, take for instance the Aviator. It's a biography, so I mean, you got to be into the source material. It's like Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Lincoln and say, oh, Daniel Day-Lewis is great in it, but like, on a summer night, I'm not going to sit and want to watch Lincoln. But let's say there's going to be a time in my life that Lincoln might be my favorite movie. When I have a lot more time to sit down and watch longer movies.
As a huge Daniel Day-Lewis fan, Lincoln is a great performance. It's just a very long movie. I'm not a huge fan of biopics. That's another thing too. I'll watch them, but I'm not like something I won't automatically go back to constantly.
It's definitely. I definitely agree with you there. And I wanted to mention to you that for the show, I reached out to Daniel Day-Lewis to see if he would come on, and I actually met him in person, and I walked away and got like the walking away of me walking away here.
Basket for the basket. Basket for the basket.
He wasn't very happy, but I'm going to try again another time. But he's great, and hopefully we can get him on the show soon.
I'm not mad.
So what I've been watching this week, we just had a trailer drop for The Running Man, starring the guy from Top Gun. I forget his name, escapes me right now. I don't know why his name is escaping me. It's horrible, and I write notes to people. But he's from Twisters as well.
I hate the guy. I don't really hate him.
Oh my goodness!
What you're talking about.
Anyway, I watched the version with Arnold Schwarzenegger because I wanted to see how the Glenn Powell version would do coming up. Just comparing, like, because it looks wacky. The new trailer for The Running Man looks wacky. I heard it's closer to the book, which interested me into looking at it, because I'm not really a huge fan of remakes. But I mean, The Running Man was a great movie for me as a kid. It's not an instant classic, and from what I heard, Schwarzenegger gave the blessing to Glenn Powell to be the role of Ben Richards. So I'm looking forward to the newer film to see how it does. But watching the old 1980s film, it just cracks me up how ridiculous like the characters are in the film. With Dynamo and Buzzsaw and Fireball, as well as Sub-Zero was Professor Tanaka from the wrestling. It's entertaining. But I read that book in high school for English class. I don't know if you had to, Tom, but we had to read for English class. And then I read it on my own. And like the book's more making fun of society, how what's kind of making fun of society is now, how we would do anything for money in a corrupt society. But and the movie kind of made it like jokingly funny. And you have the guy from Family Feud, the kissing bandit, Richard Harmon, as the bad guy, as Killian. Yeah, Richard Dawson as Killian. And he just is a complete asshole in the movie, which is great.
He's great. The movie is a good time. It's fun. It's for what they're trying to pull off in that time period. I mean, whatever the new movie's going to be, if it's good, it's going to be good. I'm not going to try to, from what I gather, it doesn't sound like a movie I should be comparing to this movie. They're going to be two different type of movies. It's not like a continuation. It's not like a sequel. That's just like, I hate to use this comparison, but when they came out with that Shining that was on ABC, and they're like, King was like, this is the real Shining. A lot of people are saying this one is the real Running Man. I mean, they got a good director. Okay. So we're going to see what happens, but back to this one. I mean, I think my favorite is the cheesiness in the beginning of how he gets convicted in the first place on that airplane. There's women and children down there. And the way just like that whole entire goes down. And he does a good job in this movie, being what they're calling for. And it's, to me, if there's no Running Man, you need Running Man before you get to Total Recall. So I think they're both like, awesome Schwarzenegger action vehicles.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. Like, Schwarzenegger is the biggest action star I think of my lifetime. I would say. I mean, he was like the man who ran the 80s. Him and Sly were always like competing, but we had a Schwarzenegger versus Stallone. I always think Schwarzenegger's movies are a little bit better, but that's just my opinion.
They are. But they just left. They just, honestly, they're more like, Sly's got some great movies. I mean, we could talk about Cobra for days. It's just that, Schwarzenegger throws a harder punch. I think his movies do. Like, they leave just a little bit more.
I think it's
you really got to be in a Rocky and Rambo. And if you take them two out of the equation, Sly's running pretty thin.
Yeah, I think it's also Schwarzenegger's comedy that he adds into his roles. Oh, yeah. It really
great in this movie. How about Plane Zero?
Yeah. I hope he has enough room in his stomach because I'm gonna run my fist and break a goddamn spine. But on top of that, my mom had surgery this week, so she has been kind of chilling on the couch, and we watched My Cousin Vinny during one of my lunch breaks, and it still holds up today as a classic comedy. Marissa Tomei. Everybody says that Marissa Tomei accidentally won that Oscar. She is magnificent in this film. She's hilarious, and her chemistry with Joe Pesci is awesome. The chemistry with the judge is awesome. Herman Munster is awesome. Everything just plays off so well in the film. Like, they were very lucky when they made it because everything just seemed to flow so well. And I think Pesci actually brought his Oscar to the set when he won for Goodfellas, and then Tomei won for this film, which I think is kind of cool. What do you think about My Cousin Vinny? I know we did a deep dive on it, which I don't want to go too much into it, but what do you think about it, Tone?
I'm laughing because this morning, No Way Home, that's what Sophia was watching, Spider-Man. And at the end, of course, Marissa Tomei is Aunt. And she came on the screen, and I said to Katie, I wish she was my aunt. And then Katie just looked at me. But Marissa Tomei is great in this movie. And honestly, Joe Pesci, when you're looking for something out of the box that isn't Goodfellas or Casino, it's a great performance. A movie that I watched this week to play along with this law is The Rainmaker. I hadn't watched that movie in such a long time. That's a pretty good movie. But back to this movie, law movies I'm all for it. We can talk about, there isn't a movie that has a judge in a case or anything that I don't enjoy. This is the first one and really the only one, right? That's like a comedy. I mean, it's cool to see it that way. And I think that's what makes it so.
I mean, there's Jury Duty.
That is true. There is Jury Duty. That is very true. Classic in a way.
Yeah, speaking of Pesci films, I've been kind of looking through some of his like filmography, and he doesn't act as much anymore. I mean, he of course is in his 80s. But have you ever seen the movie The Public Eye?
No, but I know the box. As soon as you say it out loud, I see him with like the thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it's one of those films that when we used to rent movies, he used to be in the trailers. That's what I always think about, because he was known as Burnsy in the movie, and I've seen it a couple times. It's actually a very, very decent film.
I'll have to watch that.
But when we were talking about like these obscure films, like that's one of the films I think about, like The Public Eye with Joe Pesci, and then you could also think of Gone Fishing, which is not a great, not a great film, but
this movie kind of got lost in the fold. It came out. It's one of his last movies. It's called Love Ranch.
oh yeah,
He plays like it's not great, but again, because you like those type of movies and you like Pesci, trust me, it's a lot better than anything De Niro's put out, or or Pacino, especially lately. So he's a good actor, and I think what I appreciate of him is he picks his works well. And any man who picks to be on Tales from the Crypt, he's in my book. He's in a great episode of Tales from the Crypt.
yes he is. We for Halloween that could be something we could do a deep dive in. Tales.
That'd be awesome. That'd be incredible.
But that is what we watched this week. Let us know what you watched over at the Show Pod on Twitter, X, over at, you can let us know at Sadistic Penguin Studios on Facebook, or in the YouTube comments what you watched. If we missed anything or you had any comments about anything we talked about, let us know. And I'm sorry again for forgetting names, but I mean, we should just make a drinking game of this because, well, then again, I don't know, because you might die. But
that's
just my shtick, man.
Hey, that's there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes,
the
sir.
other day I made a mistake and said that Christopher Nolan was directing James Bond, because I get like so excited sometimes. You're like so excited to just talk movies. You're like, fuck. It's not, but that's what makes it cool.
And can you believe we're almost going to 100 episodes here, folks?
Believe it.
With that, my friend, let's go into our next segment of what's in the back of the VHS box, my friend. Let me just find that great video. Here we go.
The bat, the beat fakes pops. The bat, the beat fakes pops. The bat, the beat fakes pops.
All right, my friend. So here's a good one for you, Tone. It has to do with our theme, so I'll give you a little hint there. So the town hasn't thrown a Valentine's Day dance in 20 years. Not since tragedy struck deep below the surface. But when the party finally returns, so does something else. Something wearing a gas mask and wielding a pickaxe. Now, beneath heart-shaped decorations and teenage hormones, a nightmare is tunneling its way back. Roses are red, violets are blue. You open this card, and it might be the last thing you do.
Isn't it? Is it Valentine's Day Massacre?
No. It's close.
I know the movie.
That's the Al Capone.
Because I saw didn't they make a remake?
Yeah, they made a remake. This is the 1981.
Oh, my Bloody Valentine.
Yes, sir. I love the answer it gives me too. It's like gas mask, pickaxe, Valentine's Day. It's got love, gore, and coal dust all over it. All right, Tony, you are 1 and 2 for the back of the VHS box. That was a little easier one, but I was trying to do closer to our theme.
Hey, no, I appreciate it. Last week was something.
Hans got it without even seeing the movie.
I know.
I think it's Copland. I never seen that movie, but it's Copland. But yep, that's the back of the VHS box. Little trivia segment we had. So if you played along, if you got it right, let us know. But going from there, talking about films, and we're talking about the theaters, Tone. I've been looking at like the box offices recently, and it's crazy that there's kind of been a resurgence in the box office here. You have films like Lilo and Stitch, who've made over $400 million, and you have films for like Superman, who just came out. It's already at $93 million, even though it's only $166 million. I'm sorry, it's only been out 6 days. Jurassic Rebirth at $248 million. F1's at $142 million. How to Train Your Dragons at $244. You have Elio, which has only been out about 27 days, is at $66 million. Mission Impossible is up to $194, which is still kind of low for a Tom Cruise movie, but it's still over. Are the theaters back, man? I know we've had Cotton talk about how he hates going to theaters. I know we talked about, me personally say how I like streaming more sometimes. But are the theaters coming back? Are they making a resurgence?
There's multiple ways to look at this. You could say yes, they are, in one way. I was thinking about it today because I really, really tried. I just couldn't get everything done that I wanted to. I was going to try to squeeze in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I just couldn't. I had so much shit to do. But like what I was thinking about today, if I was able to go, was the pure escapism of going to the movies. Like that's what I was thinking about today. What I was pissed because I couldn't go. Not the movie. I probably wouldn't have been the best movie, the best choice, but the pure getting to escape into a dark movie theater. My gosh, honestly, going to see the last couple of movies I've seen, it's given me almost like a resurgence in movies. Not that I've lost it, but to say that I just love movies so much. But what I will agree back to Cotton is that there's bad movie theaters and there's good movie theaters. There's one out by Adam, and it's an amazing movie theater. The ones that are in my town here, AMC, they're bad. You know what I mean? Like they're just not. They're more put together. Like, and I remember these movie theaters when they first opened up 17 years ago with $5 for tickets and free popcorn, and they were run by a company called Carasotes, and this company was magical. And then they sold them to AMC, and the thing now they got holes in the chair. So I believe in escapism. I believe that movie theaters could be coming back. I just believe that you got to go to the right one and for the right experience.
And you know what? Since you brought it up that way, I totally agree with you. There's no argument to make against that. Me personally, I would rather stream, and that's because I'm a hermit.
Yeah, I am. When it comes to movies, I've become it since 2020, 2021. But those, I'm not going to lie to you, going to go see the last two movies, Superman and the 28 Days Later, even in the small, and it was at the crappy theater here, it still left me going, this is why I do what I do with you. I love movies. When it comes to streaming, I have to go and put my phone on the other end of the room, or I'll end up looking up.
Looking at.
Well, I'm looking up facts. I'm Mr. looking up facts for movies that pisses Katie off. Like, I'm like, did you know? I mean,
I did the same thing with Jenny, and she's always like, "What? Okay, yeah."
But
I am a nerd like that. I do get so for films like Superman. I want to see because you told me it was pretty decent. My brother told me it was good. I've heard good things from other people. It's more of a time thing for me, so I feel like, and
well,
then
that too.
But in terms of going to the theater, like my son likes to go to the theater, so I like to see I love to see movies with him because it's kind of like a bonding experience between him. To go and see films. That was something that I always did as a kid, so I think it's kind of cool I can do it with my own kid. I just think like now that I'm seeing more and more movies come out, which are making me want to go to the theater. Like I'm glad I went to go see the last Mission Impossible, as corny as it was, because I felt like that movie needed to be seen in the theater because of all the sound, and I'm really looking forward to going to see the Mortal Kombat film that comes out in October.
Yeah,
because I would like to support it, make sure it makes money. I want to go see F1. I've heard so many good things about that. Mm-hmm. Jurassic World, I probably won't go see it unless my buddy drags me along because he's a big dinosaur guy. But 28 years later, I want to see still. I just have so many movies I want to go see. I just don't have enough time.
Time is a bee. You know what I mean? But like today, I looked down and if I had the time, what is it? AMC for a month, $15. You get to see one movie a week. I mean, that's not a bad deal.
And that's why my brother has the monthly pass.
That's not a bad deal.
And he goes to see movies every weekend, like Friday and Saturday is just
like that's
a thing.
But again, if I didn't have a daughter and I had more free time, and that's what's. But then again, you know what I mean? That's where hopefully movie theaters, by the time our children are a little older, maybe we can get involved in something like that. We try to see the movies when we can. I really, for weeks and weeks, wanted to see Sinners, and I couldn't. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh, why? But I'm like you. It's like, for me, it has to be a matinee. Like for me, I don't have time anymore to go unless Sophia goes to bed, and then I'll be out past 11, and that's just not something that I want to do right now. And
I totally agree with that too.
But that's something though that, while going to see these movies, man, it's made it worth it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when we went to go see that new real bad Evil Dead movie, the experience of just being in the movie theater was better than whatever the movie was, because I had never been at that movie theater before. I used to be a sucker. Like, you could take me to any brand new movie theater, even if it was AMC, and I'd be like, wow. But that's my brother-in-law and my sister lived in Woodridge for a while in Illinois, and they had some really awesome movie theaters out there. They had one with the Blues Brothers car. It's like on top of the roof.
That's Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, and I would be like, oh my God, this is heaven. And they're like, you're literally just standing in front of a movie theater in our town. But like, that's me with movie theaters. But it's not like that anymore. I'm a real big sucker for malls too. Those are also gone. You can't go and get that experience anymore. I mean, it just doesn't feel the way it used to feel. And that's kind of...
I think I've noticed this too, and it's probably because I am close to turning 40. I see a lot of stuff that I grew up with that is just not existent. We just talked about in the beginning, phone booths. Like, I've never seen a phone booth, but payphones are kind of going out of their way, and then now we're talking about movie theaters. They're kind of making some of a resurgence, but malls, like, I used to go to the mall all the time when I was in my teens and like younger. We used to go like to hang. It used to be like the place to hang out, whether it be on where I live. Ford City was like the mall we used to go to, or Chicago Ridge Mall, and like, even I don't even go to the mall by me in Orland Park. It's like not as, I guess, popular to go to anymore.
Well, there's this wave, and it's changed. Like I said to Katie, like, people don't, me and you almost, we're becoming more and more a relic. A couple guys who just love to talk about movies. You know what I mean? Like, if we ran into a bunch of guys our age, they much more probably rather talk about politics than sit around and talk about movies or even argue. Can you imagine? Someone would be like, arguing movies? It's such a waste of time. Let's argue about this. When the reality is like, the passion in the movies is something that I'm glad that we were able to do the show together, because it shows that, and at the movie theater, when you got the time, if you get to go to the right movie theater, it could be beneficial. I read a lot of reviews. I'm a big review guy. That's why, as soon as I saw, or you like guys like Richard Roper and Ebert. I have friends people that I would talk to have been like, oh, I read the reviews, they're not good. And they're like, reviews are stupid. And I'd be like, they're not really stupid. They're kind of like a guide to see if, like, are you going to like it? If you like the reviewer too, kind of like, you could see it, and then you go see it, you could be like, well, he was wrong. I don't go in and being like, well, I read his review, he was right. It's like, you're trying to like play all these different things. So,
and you know what? That's totally true. Like, it's more subjective. It gives you a tone of what the film is going to be, because like, I like Ebert. I mean, I like Gene Siskel, like, one of the best, but like, I do not agree with a lot of his views on film. And I mean, that's common. Ebert, although he supported a lot of horror movies, like, he was not a huge fan of like certain horror movies. Siskel hated The Crow, and Ebert loved it. Like, Ebert hated The Usual Suspects, and Siskel loved it. Like, stuff like that is just it's subjective in terms of film. And I'm pretty sure I've disagreed with Roper's view on film. Oh, Nope. He loved Nope, and I hated Nope. But when I was on Twitter, I would ask him like what he thought about film, and he would tell me if he screened it. And usually if he screened it, that means they were open to criticism, but he'd usually be like, well, they never gave us a chance to screen it, so you know what that means, which meant the movie was probably going to be bad, and they didn't want to be, destroyed by them. But it's all subjective. Like, some people's most hated movies, some people's favorites. Like, perfect example, Zoe hates The Pest. Me and my brother fucking love that movie. It's all subjective, man. You're not completely wrong in what you think. I might disagree with you, but it doesn't mean that you're completely wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like The Natural. You like it, and a lot of people do. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean you're correct. It's just my taste versus your taste. It's kind of like food. Sometimes you like to eat stuff, and even though it might not taste good to you, it might taste good to other people.
My question to you is do you believe sometimes like a movie theater or an experience that could switch with somebody? Like, if let's say your grandfather, you would walk in as a little kid and he would always have the natural on, the ending, and he would blast it. Would you take it because he liked it? And when you were a little kid, you were like, wow, in awe watching that ending. So like, that's why I like it. But if you didn't experience that and you try to watch that movie at like 19 or 17 and there was no connection to you in that movie, well, then of course, that's why movies are all like, who did you see?
Oh
it
yeah.
with?
I mean,
I used to say this all the time on the old show. Like when you sit around with your buddies, like if me and you sat around and watched The Wolf of Wall Street, we'd be laughing, we'd be having a good time. You know, if we sat around and watched The Aviator, we'd probably be quiet. You know what I mean? Like movies make you feel certain ways when you watch them.
yeah. And speaking of making me feel a certain way, this is kind of a. I texted you this the other day. My wife turned on Beetlejuice, and I was whose house? Yum's house. I was really excited about when the movie came out. We were going to have a film event around it. And to be honest with you, you know what? Jen told me after we saw it, aren't you glad you didn't have a film event around it? And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe it felt like it was just going in too many directions. I don't know what it was. I don't know the premise of it. It was just really, yeah, it was terrible. In my opinion, I didn't really like it. I love Michael Keaton. Don't get me wrong. Michael Keaton's the man. And I really like
how many stars out of 4?
Oh man, 1.5. I didn't enjoy it that much. I mean, it's not the worst film I've ever seen.
I'm
It's
giving
not
it a
for
half
Moon
a
bad.
star. I'm giving it a half a star. And the half a star is the way that they pretty much took care of Jeffrey Jones because he's kind of like a scumbag in real life.
Yeah.
So they made him in the movie like half of his body. Like, so you never saw the top half. He was just like legs walking around. That cartoon at the beginning to explain that was kind of creative. That gets a half a point.
That didn't even need to be explained. Just say he died.
Well, I think they were trying to spit in his face because he's still alive and he's a pedo.
Uh-huh.
But to say that his character isn't killed off, but in the land of the unliving, he's just a half a body and you don't really use him. He's just mumbling. It was kind of creative. But again, in a movie with Willem Dafoe, you have, honestly, it didn't feel like as practical of the effects as they said that they used. It still felt like a lot of new stuff. And the original took place in a house. This movie tries to expand to the whole town. Didn't get the job
Did
done.
they ever explain what happened to Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character?
I believe at the very beginning they said they just kind of like left or had other things to do. I could be wrong.
Because I know Lydia's like the kind of like a psychic on the dead and whatnot. I mean, I like Jenna Ortiz.
Yeah,
She's
okay.
a great actress, but I just couldn't.
I mean, Catherine O'Hara. The actors are all there. Script not there.
They went on a train meeting heaven. Yeah, that's to be honest with you, I was watching it and I got so like confused about what was going on. And then when I started getting confused about it and like it was just doing too much, I'm like, I don't like this movie. It's not something I would want to watch again to get the plot correct. And when it's to that point with me, it's just, yeah, I watched it to watch it. And then I told my wife, this is like, they ruined Beetlejuice to me. They should just kept them in a damn volcano in Hawaii like they were originally going to do, which would have been good. And now they're making a third one. I guess this movie made money. I don't know, man.
Well, to scramble your brain a little bit more here, I got just a quick question. Last night I was watching a movie that you love.
Mm-hmm.
What movie is written by Stephen King and Vince McMahon's voice is in the movie?
Oh, is it?
Even if you don't get it, I know you know when you hear it.
Oh my god! Oh, let me think. It's not. His voice is in the movie. So I'm guessing, is it Silver Bullet? Because he's watching the wrestling match.
Would that come out 85? 3 years before it came out in 82. Stephen King's actually in the movie. I'll give you a hint.
82 Creepshow?
Yeah. When Jordy's sitting in the thing and he's watching wrestling on the TV, Vince McMahon's like the wrestling announcer.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I've watched that movie so many times, I never realized that Vince McMahon was the wrestling announcer. And because Katie had never, I've been wanting to watch Father's Day again since Father's Day, and I hadn't. And then I watched that, and that's such a great movie.
The Ed Harris dancing is the
Oh,
winner.
yeah. Had a laugh at that part. Had to.
But let us know what you guys think. Are theaters dying? Are they coming back? Are they making a resurgence? Does it matter what theater you go to? Does it matter who made the movie? Also, did you like Beetlejuice? I really want to know your answers, and am I wrong for that review on my end? Let me know. I really do want to hear your comments, and well, don't send me a tweet because I'm on Twitter, but you can tweet us at the Show Pod, and Tony will tell me it. But yeah, man, Beetlejuice has let me down, unfortunately. But Tone, moving on to the main reason we're here is the films. So this weekend, as we mentioned, I Know What You Did Last Summer was released last weekend, actually, with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. in more of a supporting role as the old, I guess, people who survived the murder, a killer or something like that. Personally, when I was reading the plot for this, it's just basically it's a remake of the original, but they're putting the two original characters in there.
I think like what it is, yeah, it is pretty much like that. But like what it is that cliche where they want to go back and talk to them to get some information, which is really the real reason I want to see it. I've been trying to figure it out and I haven't. Is they said that like when you find out who the killer is in this movie, you're gonna be like banging your head on the wall with what the hell? And that's honestly why they said the movie. Honestly, like. I've heard reviews where, of course, it's majority of them aren't the best, but a couple of them say that in this movie, there's actually a good movie. It's just, if you're willing to watch it. So I'm kind of curious. Honestly, all these movies, all the screams, I'll watch them all. You know what I mean? It depends. Am I going to see it at the movie theater? Am I going to watch it at home? That's why movies like this, if you can't get into like a matinee for cheaper, you might as well wait till it gets on streaming. But we'll have to wait and see what the weekend box office brings.
Yeah, so we gotta see what happens. Best of luck to them. I just saw Final Destination hit 146 million. So who's the killer? Was it Old Man Withers from the Haunted Museum? He would have got away with it. It wasn't for you meddling kids. But yeah, so that movie came out and it gave us an idea to do this because for some reason slashers are released in the summertime or based in the summer, and we decided let's talk about these films and go into our 5 and 5 of this. And what best film to start off with than the original?
And he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
That's some A+ acting right there. For I Know What You Did Last Summer, released in 1997, directed by Jim Gillespie, who did Detox, Joyride, Billionaire Ransom, and Queen Made in Heaven. It stars Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Anne Heche, Freddie Prinze Jr., Ryan Phillippe, and Muse Watson. It had a budget of $17 million and a box office of $125 million. Tone, we can't do a review that was based or inspired by I Know What You Did Last Summer without using the original, and that's why I picked it. This film, I remember for the longest, was called a ripoff of Scream. Everybody says, oh, it's a Scream ripoff, and I'm like, not really. I mean, Scream had Wes Craven, and this had a fisherman. But I mean, I thought the premise was kind of cool. Like they think they kill somebody, and then he's trying to come back and kill them, which to me is like that could really happen in real life. I mean, if you think about it. Also had Jennifer Love Hewitt, who was like really huge in the 90s. A lot of guys' crushes were on her. I never thought of much of this. I'm not a slasher guy to begin with, but this one always bothered me. Oh, why is that, Brian? Why did this one bother you? This one
It's Freddie
had
Prinze Jr. He liked him more in
I love Freddie
Wing
Prinze.
Commander.
He was awesome in oh man, he's done so many movies with Matt Lillard. It's
I
pretty
know.
funny. Summer Catch.
Summer Catch.
Yeah. But you know, Kevin Williamson wrote this script before Scream, so it wasn't brought until Scream's success, which I thought was kind of funny. That took Scream to make this become a success. And speaking of being a ripoff, so, Melissa Joan Hart, Clarissa Explains It All, herself said that she turned down the lead because she called it a Scream ripoff. Like I said, I don't think it is a Scream ripoff. I think it is something different. If anybody knows anything about horror films, they always have some kind of inspiration, whether it be something like this, even though this movie wasn't inspired by it. There's always that genre that constantly evolves. And I mean, we're going to go through that genre right now for slasher films. But if you look through the horror films of the 80s, Friday the 13th, and then you had Nightmare on Elm Street, and then you had like Scanners, and then Brain Dead, and like all these, they're all horror movies, just different kind of takes on certain things of horror and zombies. And that's just the way it is for, you know, anything. And as long as it's entertaining, I'll watch it. I thought this film was entertaining. My mom actually watched this yesterday, which I thought was funny. I was able to rewatch it. I think the acting is pretty horrible in this film. But I did find it funny when Johnny Galecki dies, aka David from Roseanne, or Leonard from Big Bang Theory, when they find him in the trunk dead. Apparently that bothered Jennifer Love Hewitt so much because they had like a model made of him. She was like, she couldn't go on set, and he had to call her and calm her down, which I thought was hilarious. But this film, like I said, it's just another 90s slasher, and I guess I wish it success in, it's one of those franchises from the 90s that, goes with the Final Destination franchise. Like, it's just one of those things that kind of rode the coattails of a successful film, even though it was written before, and now we're seeing I guess a remake or reboot. What do you think about this one, Tone?
Well, first, in a couple minutes, I'm going to try to say it really quickly here. I call BS on when people say things like the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on the Elm Streets and the Halloweens. Those movies are all clearly different to me. Maybe it's because I've spent so much time watching them. I will admit that when this movie first came out, I kind of was like, oh, it came out when Scream came out. But like when you really think about the slasher genre, it's all pretty much the same movie. The characters are all just different. They range in stupidity. To the point where Katie this week even said her coworker, she's like, yeah, she's the first one that would die in a slasher movie. She didn't even know we were doing a slasher movie this week. But that's the thing, is these characters are, some of them are cliche. And I think that's why I like slasher movies, because you just kind of like let loose and have ridiculous. I mean, Ryan Felipe in this movie is off the chain of ridiculousness. And he was just in Lincoln Lawyer, which I watched, was on TV, and he pretty much plays the same role again, just like an older version of him. And then he plays, kind of that same character in Cruel Intentions. So like the thing about this movie is like you have to suspend belief. It's stupidity. But like you can't tell, like I can't, when me and my friends were watching this in the movie theater, when David showed up on the screen from Roseanne, the way we were laughing so hard, because like it's partly stupid. Like that's why I love them. That's why I love these movies. Now, this movie in particular, I don't think it's a great movie, but I also think that there are things in it that I've always really, really enjoyed. I love the soundtrack to this movie. If you ask me what is one of the greatest intros to a slasher movie, I would say it was this movie. That Typo Negative song, Summer Breeze, that starts off that movie, it's pretty hard. It's, to me, and I know there's past people who probably you've been on the show here who I could get an argument with. I think it's a better beginning than Scream. Just because when you sit there and you think of like what this movie's going for, which it's going for like that ocean locale feel, Scream's in a house, okay? Like Scream is great when it came out. Scream was a reintroduction to a genre that needed to be reintroduced. This movie is just it's different because it doesn't take place like in a house. I like it because it takes place outside a lot more. It's ridiculous. I was not happy with who the killer was in the movie. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was stupid. Like they could have did better with that. But all things aside, it's cheesy fun.
Yeah, the Drew Barrymore scene in Scream is iconic. But that was kind of a rehashing of Psycho because one of the big stars, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, was killed off in Psycho. But talk about this film. It's actually based off a book that was released in '73 under the same name by Lois Duncan. This film is loosely based off it. The big opening, as you said, it reminds me of. I got a lot of Lost Boy feels because when they're going through the water, but they go into the Coney Island little. Well, I think I look at Coney Island, but it's Santa Carla little like carnival area. That's what I get when I watch the film. So it kind of reminds you back of Lost Boys. I don't know if they were going for that, but it is a pretty awesome song that opens up for this film. Speaking of Jennifer Love Hewitt, she had to wear cleavage revealing tops for this film.
Oh,
because she refused to do a nude scene.
Well,
damn Hollywood. And Freddie Prinze Jr. wasn't considered the studio's first pick because they thought he was too soft, and they had to screen test him 4 to 5 times.
It's interesting.
Poor Freddie Prinze.
The soundtrack rocks for this one. I mean, Offspring, Kula Shaker, Soul Asylum, Told to What Sprockets, Korn. You know, I mean, it's there isn't many. What's the word I'm looking for? There ain't a whole lot of slasher soundtracks that kick ass. One's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, another like slasher that we're not going to talk about that I really like that has a good soundtrack is the remake of Prom Night. That film opens up with them going over water too, and it's over Ben Taylor's rendition of Time of the Season.
Yeah,
which was the Ben Taylor band, which I really like.
For a long time. Isn't the killer in that movie the guy from That Thing You Do?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Now I remember the movie.
Yeah, but that is the first. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Who would have thunk it? Tony went with the sequel.
Look, I'm sorry, but you could have been the one doing all this.
And so could you, crazy bitch.
Hey, you're the one who broke into my hiding place.
I'm sorry. I must have missed the sign.
Excuse me, but this place didn't have a murder rate until you people showed up. I've never seen a dead body before.
Yeah, get used to it.
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but the more excellent acting, released in 1998, directed by Danny Cannon, who did Judge Dredd, Strangers, The Young Americans, and Phoenix. Again, stars Freddie Prinze Jr. along with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Brandy Norwood, Mekhi Phifer, Bill Cobbs, Jennifer Esposito, and Jeffrey Combs. This film had a budget of $65 million and a box office of $48 million. Tone, tell me why you picked the sequel, man.
Jack Black. Back to Jack Black. His role in this movie. I mean, geez, man. To see that he's gone from this to one of the highest grossing movies of the year. You can't tell me that, man. That ain't an awesome career arc.
So, before you get into more of your breakdown, when I saw Jack Black in this, he has the dreads in this film, it reminded me of the film with Arnold and with Gary O'Brien, End of Days, with that weird guy, that like albino guy that just like falls apart on the train. That's the kind of vibes I got of his look when I saw it, and I'm like, oh my god. But continue.
Ridiculous. Again, like I said, all these slasher movies, you need the characters to add the ridiculousness. The plot is not as good as the first one. The idea that, again, he's coming back again was a stretch, I think, when I first saw it. But again, it's fun. Okay, that's why they make these movies for you to have fun. Did you say it lost money?
Oh yeah, it lost 25 mil.
Oh wow. See, I was always thinking that's probably why they never did anything more than this, because it wasn't successful. And honestly, I don't know, going the route of Mekhi Phifer and Brandy and bringing back, Freddie Prinze Jr., those three, you could have probably, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, having it again and in that locale. Where were they on this island? Jamaica, I think.
Bahamas.
Again, not, you're going further away, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know about this one, but fun.
My favorite random Jack Black role as a DJ at the house party in the movie Bye Bye Love. He was also in the Never Ending Story Part 3. He was one of the bad guys.
Is he in the Jackal?
He is in the Jackal. He gets shot by Bruce Willis. He gets blown up by Bruce Willis.
That's great.
So, a couple of trivia facts about this film. Well, my take on it is it wasn't as good as the original, and I thought the ending of this one was stupid as well. But a couple like little facts about this. For 27 years, this was Jennifer Love Hewitt's final horror film until she returned for the recent I Know What You Did Last Summer, avoiding typecasting as a scream queen. This film also had a karaoke sang live by Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's a trained singer. For the karaoke scene, she actually is a trained singer, which I thought was pretty funny. And you have Brandy there. So, I mean, yeah. This was Jack Black's first horror film, though he remains uncredited for unknown reasons. I mean, maybe he didn't want to be known because he had dreads in his film. But my favorite trivia fact, Tone, is that Nancy's character, played by Jennifer Esposito, her description in the script read, Nancy looks just like Jennifer Esposito. Or Airborne, of course. What's my wife doing here? Oh, man. But yeah, I don't... this film, I can see why it lost money. It's funny that Jim Gillespie came on and said that he decided to return and then stayed, I don't want to come back because I like the premise and I think it killed the franchise a little. I mean, it killed it a lot. This was not a good... It was like a rehashing, and it was just, I don't know. It was a dumb premise, but then again, I've seen a bunch of dumb premises for films. But was it great? No. Was it horrible? No. But it wasn't. Jack Black's probably the saving grace of this film, to be honest with you.
If you're having someone over, you know what I mean, you're probably 10 times out of 10 watch the first one and then not even watch the second one and go to another slasher movie.
And I still think the name of the movie is hilarious. I still know what you did last summer.
But that's what's confusing about the new one, because even when I was looking up the new one, it's the same title as the first one. So that's what they that's what
ketchup
sometimes.
Ketchup. Ketchup. Catsup. That's how I feel about when the movies do that. Ketchup. Catsup. From the Simpsons old bit with Burns when he's at the grocery store. Yeah, not a great film. It had like a bunch of big time like people in, I guess, music with Brandy in it, and then you have Mekhi Phifer, who was up and coming. I mean, he was in Honey, and then he's in what do you call damn, what movie was he in? Was he in I can't think of any other movie Mekhi Phifer was in. And he was like really big in the 90s.
He was in Clockers.
Oh yeah, Clockers. But he was in some other big films too. I know he was in 8 Mile, Paid in Full. That was more in the 2000s.
The
tell me you're talking about
was not as banging for the sequel as it was for the first one. They went
Soul Food. That was the film he was in 97. I couldn't remember. But yeah, and Jennifer Esposito, who I'm a big fan of her work too. I loved her in Summer of Sam as Adrian Brody's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that was good.
But Bill Cobbs is another guy. He's the poor man's Ozzie Davis. Like I love Bill Cobbs. He's a poor man's. He's in People Under the Stairs. He's the poor man's Ozzie Davis. Like I always thought of him that way because he's in every film and you know him. He just he's like plays characters, and I could totally see Bill Cobb doing a boxing movie like in Gladiator, like Ozzie Davis, like being Noah the trainer. Like it's just but.
Somebody had some pull because they decided for track 2 on the soundtrack to have Jennifer Love Hewitt sing a song.
Well, I told you she's a trained singer, man.
Well, that's what I said. But like the first one's got all these awesome bands, and then the second one, you're like, I recognize 9 of the song bands on here, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna do Orgy and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like it's just quite a downfall, especially considering, they put, let's see here, more money into this one than the original.
It's usually like that. They try to capitalize, and I'm pretty sure this was probably rushed. I mean, the last film was released in '97. This was released in '98, so they automatically started going to the sequel after this. And that's probably why it struggled so much. So hopefully the new one does well and is a good movie. I'm not holding my breath for that though. Just a heads up, guys. I haven't read any reviews on it. But let's go into our next film. This one's gonna be a video clip because I couldn't find any memorable quotes from the film. Talk about a film about hillbillies that has like gone off its own rails. 2003's Wrong Turn, directed by Rob Schmidt, who did Crime and Punishment in Suburbia, The Alphabet Killer, and Speed of Life. It stars Eliza Dirkshoe, Jennifer Sisto, Emmanuel Chiricu, I guess that's her name, Desmond Harrington, and Lindy Booth, at a budget of $12.6 million and a box office of $28.6 million. The reason I picked this film is we were speaking about movie theater experiences. I took my then girlfriend to Fort City to see this film, and this film scared her. And I was like, wow, I guess I can't take you to see horror movies. But I remember like Eliza Dirkshoe, again, another girl that was like a most teenage adolescent men. That was their like crush from, she was on Bring It On, she was like the it girl at the time. She decided to do this horror film about basically these people who are hillbillies that kill people, and they're inbreds, and they eat. There's a lot of gore in this film. Jeremy Sisto's in it. I guess he didn't have fun rolling with the homies in Clueless as Elton. And I always thought Meadow Soprano was in this film when I was younger, and I found out it was Emmanuel Chiricu. I'm saying her name incorrectly. Drink again. But the premise of this film is ridiculous. The acting is total B-movie tier, and I love it for all those reasons. I do not like the sequels. I think they're just gore fest. I am a fan of horror, but when it gets to, like, I think that's kind of why Terrifier kind of turns me off. When it kind of gets just more to gore and not really towards, like, the campy terror, it doesn't really, it's not my cup of tea. And I've seen the other ones. I'm just not a huge fan of them. Three Finger, the crazy hillbilly in this film, has been basically made into a horror icon because of him, the way that the films have transgressed. There was no nudity in this film, which is pretty crazy because all the sequels have nudity. And Eliza Dirkshoe did her own stunts in this film, so shout out to her. Tom, what do you think about Wrong Turn?
I thought it was great. When it first came out, I thought I had a blast watching this one. Again, every time I've ever been somewhere where like it feels like there are hillbillies around, you always make the wrong turn jokes, deliverance jokes. They all fit like all really together. And honestly, this movie does a really, really great job of that. And honestly, the graphics, the FX that they use for the characters, I thought they did a really good job. The movie was entertaining. These mountain men were ridiculous, like you said. I'm with you. If honestly, if 50% of my movies aren't campy, then I just don't have a good time watching them. Like, I love super serious and I love campy. If it's neither one, it's, it could not be good.
Yeah,
actually, honestly, I love all movies. I don't even know what
No, it makes sense. I totally agree with you. The thing is, though, like, I actually like this film, and I actually like the reboot. I thought the reboot was a good, like,
that wasn't
change.
terrible.
It was a good change of a story. I mean, it didn't play into the inbred like this film did. it was more of a cult, which I thought was kind of cool. Like,
Mhm.
this film didn't bother me because it was like, it reminded me of an 80s slasher. It reminded, and it was you basically paid for what you're gonna see. Basically killers, but this time you knew who the killers were and you're trying to get away from them. Um, I did find it hilarious when they were walking on the trees. That always made me laugh. Like, they're so graceful to walk on the tree, the tree limbs to get away from the mountain men.
Anytime what's the word I'm looking for? You have these sequels come out of these movies that are straight to DVD or straight to VHS, usually not good. Like, honestly, all of the sequels to movies like this just aren't good at all.
The best part is their names of the mountain men, which is one of them's name is One Eye. The character you're showing on the screen right now, if you're not watching us, check us out on YouTube, SadisticPenguinStudios.com, is Three Fingers, and the other one is Sawtooth.
The other one,
Yeah,
Sawtooth.
3 of them. And Rob Schmidt, who directed the film, said it was a tribute to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes, and I could totally see the homage he gave in the film to those, especially Hills Have Eyes. I could totally see him the homage he gave to it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It is for what you basically pay for what you got.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like, man, this isn't what I was expecting. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think for the most part with slasher movies, you could go into there thinking to yourself, you're getting what you're paid for the most part. Now, when you start playing around with sequels and prequels and thises and that's, it gets a little washy. But for a first movie, generally it works.
Yeah, and this was a successful, first movie in terms of the franchise, and everything went downhill after that. But I mean, it usually does, like you said. Um, One of the cool things about this is the promotion for this was minimal because they considered the trailers too intense, which I think kind of intrigued me because it didn't come on TV that often, and it kind of got me wanting to go see the film, which is why I went to go see it. Uh, if you haven't seen this one, check it out. It's worth your time.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's become kind of a cult classic, I
Mhm.
would say. And definitely, I haven't met anybody who's ever seen this one, horror fans, that doesn't say it's not good. I mean,
It's
it's
got
it's
good death scenes too. Like,
it does. I mean, honestly, for what it is, I would put this as a classic for what it is, for the time period it came out.
yep. Years before the film, John Carpenter wrote a similar unproduced script titled Prey. Ooh. So
Now,
Mhm.
did you ever watch Dexter at all?
No.
See, like, when we watched Dexter, and then I watched this movie, and Desmond Harrington was in Dexter. So, he's in this movie with that car, and then you're like, I love doing that. I love watching television shows, watching movies, and then being like, Katie hates this too. Katie, that's the guy from Dexter. We're watching him in Dexter too. And she's like, yeah, I don't really care that connection. But to me, it's like, it's my brother, and I'm putting puzzles together for someone else. Like, I just love.
And that's why Katie and my wife get along so well.
I know. Nah.
But yeah, that's my pick. Like I said, I experienced this in the movie theater. I was 2003, so I was 17 when this came out this summer. Yeah, it wasn't that scary, and apparently it scared my significant other at the time, which probably the reason we broke up. No. But Tone, let's move on to our next film.
Is Tamara here?
No, you got the wrong house.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'll see you later.
2008's The Strangers, directed by Brian Bertino, who also did The Dark and the Wicked, The Monster, and Mockingbird. It stars Scott Speedman, Liv Tyler, and Hema Ward. It had a budget of $9 million in the box office of $82 million. Tone, tell me why you picked The Strangers, my friend.
You know, looking back, coming out in 2008, going to see this in the movie theater, the vibes that this movie was putting out, it's definitely, it was creeping me out. And I don't really get creeped out very, very much. The script, the directing, the acting, the music, I felt like it was all right there in place for success, and it was successful. My big problem, which we can get to in a few minutes, is like we talked about before, the sequels. God, are they awful? But again, maybe sometimes you work with something and you get it right just once, that maybe you just can't do it again. I don't know. I just
Like
think,
Teen Wolf?
yeah, well, yeah, like Teen Wolf, you know. Teen Wolf 2 is just a little different. But back to this movie, though. I mean, I like Liv Tyler a lot in this movie. I think she did a great job as a quote unquote like a scream queen. She does a great job at like that whole "Is Tamara home" sequence, the voice, the ending, just a lot of creepiness to it, and there's a lot of violence to it too. You know, unfortunately, I always thought it was laughed. You should have laughed in the movie theater, but laughed when Glenn Howerton showed up. Didn't laugh how it ended for him, but laughed that you see the guy from It's Always Sunny like showing up as like a friend, and like just that's why I love movies or movies like this, because you're just like watching this movie, man, and like honestly, you're scared on the edge of your seat, and then he walks in, and I don't know if they did this intentionally, but you like laugh and it like takes the edge off for a second. And then he gets his head blown off, and you're like, whoa! It's like, I love movies that play around with juxtaposition like that. Like you mentioned before, I think Terrifier goes way, way too far. This is pretty close to about, I like how far they take it in this one. But again, and the ending too, I love, we've talked about before, I love the way this movie kind of ends. Because you'd think that there could be sequels, but maybe there wouldn't be sequels. That would be okay too. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's all right too for some movies not to have sequels. You know, I don't know.
So this film scares one of our favorite actors, Kurt Russell. He said this film still terrifies him. This film was really, of all the films that we discussed tonight, this film is probably one of the most is probably the scariest, I would say, in terms of if you really think about it, because it was based off the director's experiences. It was based off, the Sharon Tate murder, of the Manson murders. And, I love Liv Tyler's line when they ask her, why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing it? And she basically just says, because you were home. That's basically her line, which just shows like they're complete psychopaths. One of the I think, the guy in the mask, he doesn't speak at all, just doll face and pinup girl speak, which is Liv Tyler and the other girl. They just speak while the guy in the mask just is silent, which is even more creepier. And I love that they add that aspect to it, that two of them are speaking and both of them are female, while the other guy it makes him even more menacing. It's crazy to think that this could happen to anybody. It could happen in real life. And I think that's what makes it even more scarier, is stuff like that. Because there are, believe it or not, weirdos and psychos like that live in the real world that could be doing this because they want to. And I think that's what makes this film like enjoyable, to the point where if you love a good scare, you would, this film fills it in there for you. It's got a cult following from it and made a lot of money off a low budget and a simple premise too, which is crazy. And yes, I totally agree with you. The sequels are completely trash.
They play the thing around again, like that they played around with it, I thought was, and I don't think enough movies do, is where they're located out there. Okay, like I've been to cabins, I've been to lake houses, and when you look out the front door and you just look out into nothing, like darkness, blackness. But what is lurking in that blackness and that darkness? And honestly, as you just said, it was scary. Like I said, I don't get scared, I guess, and that was why I guess you get that newest one. And the new one, honestly, the second part 2 is coming out here in November. But man, I don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Like maybe not getting the same writer director back for I don't know. But definitely this original was definitely left you thinking.
It's kind of like The Exorcist too.
The heretic.
The heretic.
Heretic.
You didn't get the original director back. William Peter Blatty didn't write the script for it. It was, and then when William Peter Blatty took over The Exorcist 3, it came out pretty decent. The crazy thing about this is Steven Tyler, who was Liv Tyler's dad, was in a band called The Strangers before Aerosmith, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm doing some research on this. One thing I do like, though, is when making a film, usually scenes are not shot in the order they appear. This movie is shot in chronological order, which is really rare. And that's actually kind of cool, especially it had to be like really hard on the actors, like just to act out the scene in terms of the emotion, what was going through them. So I'm pretty sure you got a lot of real emotion coming out of them in their acting. And like even the pleading, and it's just like you can feel it. And that's what I think a good horror film does. This film does have it's not as bad as Terrifier with gore, but it makes you feel uneasy. And I think that's what good horror is. It makes you feel uneasy. That's not outside the campy realm. It makes you feel uneasy. And any horror film that does that is doing its job.
It's true.
So if you haven't seen The Strangers, please, if you want to see any of the Stranger films, watch the first one. It is the best one of the series. And this one still has that creepy factor in there for the audience. And it still holds up. It's almost 20 years old, 17 years old. Check this one out, though. It's definitely worth your time if you haven't seen it. But with that, let's move on to our next one, my friend.
Andy! You goonie!
My bad.
That should have been at the end of Sleepaway Camp.
It should have been. But here's the film.
What's her problem anyway? She don't eat, she don't talk, she don't do anything. Why don't you leave her alone? She's just quiet. If she were any quieter, she'd be dead.
1983 Sleepaway Camp, directed by Robert Hiltzik, who did Return to Sleepaway Camp. That was the only other film he directed. And I'm going to tell you why after this. Starring Felissa Rose, Jonathan Turstyn, Karen Fields in her only film, Christopher Collett, Mike Keelan, and Catherine Comhe. It had a budget of $350K and a box office of $770, Tone. $770, man. Damn, this movie made a lot of money. But this film has become a cult classic. And one of the reasons is because of Angela Baker. The ridiculousness of the ending of this film. With the face she makes in it at the end, which always was like, what? It became an unexpected cult hit. So eventually, with everything added up, it made 30 times its budget. When I watched this film and I rewatched it, I was thinking, Jesus Christ, this film cannot be made today. The things that are said in this film, even from quotes, is like what? Like the insults that Judy makes to Angela, it just cannot be said in 2025. The shit that the guys are saying when the girls are running cannot be said. This is totally like 1980s lowbrow stuff. I was like, wow, this is. I couldn't believe, damn. And I remember watching this. This film, of course, has nudity in it. It follows the slasher, recipe of kills, nudity, and summer camps. The ending. If you haven't seen this film, I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil it to for you. It's 22 years later, so I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure you've seen the picture of Angela Baker with her face, like Tony put it up, making this ridiculous face, and They're surprised she's the killer, but they're most surprised that she's a guy.
The crying game.
Which I don't not understand why the director put this in there. Like, I don't know if they were trying to accomplish what it did for the story. Maybe that she was, I don't know, but it's just fucking crazy, man. It can't be me today.
Wasn't she playing someone? Yeah, she's playing the son who got killed at the beginning of the movie, like at the very beginning or whatever. So like you get it's that classic cliche at the beginning. You see something happen, and then you're like, oh man, the children, they swam ashore, they got killed, but then actually one of them turns into a woman, and they try to make this. Whoa! I mean, the movie it's as you said, lowbrow. It's it's. As far as like Friday the 13th goes, this is like a couple steps below that. But
yes.
But again, let's be honest with one another. 3 sequels. 4 sequels. No, 3 sequels. 3 sequels. So where are we at now? We got 3 sequels from this. How many from the last 2 movies? We're over 10 sequels just by our last 3 movies.
Yeah. I can't believe it made
any of the other Sleepaway Camps.
I started watching Return and I turned it off because it was bad. I tried to. I'll give you that. And I'll watch any horror movie. But like I just said, when I rewatched this, I was like, Jesus Christ, man. And I remember watching this when I was like 13, 14. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking then? She was paid $5,000 for her role, and she was only 13 in this movie.
Really?
Yeah. Brian says being uncomfortable is definitely a horror prerequisite. She had to wear like basically a thing that hid her chest, like a flattened bra, so she would appear even younger for the film. Yeah, she was born in '69. This film was released in '83. Of course, she's a big hit at all the horror conventions now. Lisa Rose has a body count of 13 people in this film. It's just the ending just always threw me through a loop. Like, what the? And I think the more ridiculous is the face she makes.
Well, yeah, it's a little extreme.
Like, why is she making that face? Like, it's like she's like a
make that face. Make the face.
Yeah, it's like she's like a wax figure. That's what it reminded me of every time I saw it. If you watch I Love the 80s, they talk about this film in there as well. But I can't see this film being made today. Yeah, the face. Look at the face, dude. Like
the face.
The face. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's there, man. It's one of those films. You can't go away. You can't talk 80s horror without talking about this film as a cult classic. And Robert Hiltzik, he only made another movie, and that's pretty sure why he only made one more other movie. But Judy is a complete bitch in this movie too. Like Karen Fields, I'm surprised Karen Fields didn't get any more roles, because she is like a person that you don't like. Like, for real. She's ridiculously bad in this film.
The boxes of these movies are memorable. I always remember seeing them at the video store, in the early 90s in the horror section. I mean, that's one cool thing about back in that time period. I mean, that's the thing I miss. You could go and just stare at all the cool boxes before you got to watch them and be like, what's this movie about? A knife through a shoe? This is cool.
She's in a short called Judy. Yeah, I don't know why she stopped acting. But she supplied the voices to Bart Simpson's friends in the first season of The Simpsons, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, she was in Broadway and stuff. But yeah, Karen Fields she's a complete menace in this film. A complete menace. Yeah, like the stuff, like I said, when you talk about like stuff that can't be, some of the stuff he says, like, it's just like, what the fuck? But yeah, check out Sleepaway Camp if you're in for that campy horror and a film that will make you uncomfortable in different ways. That is not horror. But yeah, check it out. Man, I still can't believe what happened. But moving on to a film that I thought was very interesting that you picked, Tone, and I really want to hear your reasons for picking it. Let's go with the next one.
They're called cartridges. The bullet is the part that enters your brain if you keep talking shit. And this gun only has 5 cartridges, not 6. Because they're big as fuck and only 5 fit the cylinder. So please, shut the fuck up and don't test me.
You're making it worse.
We sit and we wait.
And we die?
Not if you sit and you wait.
2015's Green Room, directed by Jeremy Saulnier, who also did Rebel Ridge, Hold the Dark, Blue Ruin, Murder Party. It stars Patrick Stewart, Anton Yelchin, Imogen Poots, and Aaliyah Shawkat. Tony, you picked those movies that give me horrible names to say. I had a budget of $5 million and a box office of 3.7. So, Tony, let me premise this to you. I have never seen this film. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Sell me on it why you picked it, because what the clips when I was looking at made it really, really interesting for me wanting to watch it. But sell me on why I should see this one.
Brian, this is for you too. I think out of all the movies tonight, you would enjoy this one. Some kid, they're like back in the day, I don't know, like back in high school, we always used to go around to like local VFWs and they'd play like the punk rock bands and like more low key. You know, you get to see a lot of low key stuff. And then sometimes, you know, you get to go to other towns to see other VFWs, to see cool punk bands. In this movie, it is pretty much about a punk band who's got a gig kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so they say, okay, we're going to go to the gig. Let's get out to the gig. So they get out to the gig. And when they get there, they realize that they're playing with a bunch of like other Nazi skinhead bands. And they're like, yeah, this isn't really for us. But then I'll leave it there. They got in way too deep already. And that's pretty much, it just keeps getting darker and deeper and darker. And honestly, it's got a really awesome like musical background. Let's say like it's the bands that they're playing and the scene that they're a part of. It's all part of like the movie. So like it turns into, and honestly, I know you love Patrick Stewart. When you walk out of this movie, I'm definitely want to hear what you have to say, because you're going to love him even more. He is dark, and bad, man. And honestly, I don't even off the top of my head think of another movie where I could say he's a bad man and he's dark, but he's pretty much the head of all this Nazi stuff going on down there. So you could imagine Patrick Stewart, you know, getting involved in all of this. But when the movie came out, it was definitely what's the word? It was different than other movies. When I was looking up slasher lists, this was on it. It's not as much of like a straight up slasher as it is of like getting mixed into a bunch of different type of slasher type situations. It's a really just a cool and interesting movie with a really great cast. Anton Yelchin could have really been even greater than he was. He was a good actor in a lot of good movies. As far as remakes go, he did a pretty good job in the Fright Night remake. It's not the best, but he always he's great in the Star Trek movies. Again, you know, if you're looking for that, and Imogen Poots, she does a great job in it too. Real cool movie, man.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally sold on it. And speaking of Anton Yelchin, I always remember him from the Star Trek movies as well as Alpha Dog. But something that I constantly see him in is a Broken Bells music video called Holding On for Life. He plays the main character in it, which is awesome. Kind of got like a Star Trek kind of feeling to it now, that music video. But when I was doing trivia for this, Sir Patrick Stewart was so disturbed by the script that he locked his house, turned on the alarm, poured scotch, and immediately wanted the role. Which I'm like, damn, when I read that, like, oh my goodness. And this is Anton Yelchin's last film before his tragic death in June 2016. I was like looking at it, I'm like, man, what is this about? And then I saw like the Dead Kennedys covers in this film for Nazi pucks punks fuck off.
Yeah.
The Clash. Is it
when they go on stage and start playing at this place? That's kind of like what they play,
uh-huh.
and they kind of piss some people off, and it kind of starts the downward spiral. But a fan of punk music, like bands like Fear is in it. I mean, Slayer. I mean, Bad Brains. Just a really cool soundtrack, and it's fresh. Like when you watch this movie, you're like, I haven't ever seen a movie like this movie before. It's like it's really, honestly, I gotta watch it again. It's been a couple years, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and this film was inspired in part by Straw Dogs and John Carpenter's style, which I thought was very interesting. Anything with John Carpenter's style, I'm really into. But yeah, the premise sounds actually really, really interesting. And if Patrick Stewart's a bad man, Professor X becoming a bad guy, I gotta watch it.
I mean, nothing more just to see the way he acts. And we talked about, I love when actors ham it up, and he hams it up, man, because you're like, there was a great show. It was me and Katie always used to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead on Stars, and right after it was Blunt Talk with Patrick Stewart, and he was ridiculous in that show, but he was like he was like a comedy, so like to see he could play funny. I know he can, but he's not very funny in this.
Oh, yeah, man. Now I'm really, really want to see this now, just because
I'm curious to hear what you think when you see it. I think
I will watch it and report next week. Brian, you should send in your report as well. But looking forward to it's got a high rating on IMDb. I think it's like a 7.5, which is another thing too. So that's another thing that's kind of intriguing me to go watch it. But I would definitely will check out Green Room and report back next.
Here is our boy Richard Roper. He praised Stewart, Poots, Shawkat, and Blair's performances and called the film a wonderfully nasty, gruesome, jagged-edged gem of a horror film that has first-rate cinematography, set design, soundtrack, and editing. So he says it. He says it.
So I gotta watch it now because he says it.
Yeah, he says it.
Oh man, I will definitely check this one out. Yeah, man. I'm just thinking about the premise now. It's crazy.
Really,
but,
it's gonna leave you thinking, man. It's cool. That's really why I wanted to bring it up, because if at the very least I could get you to see something like you can get me, like last week, honestly, I was gonna send you a text to my buddy. I sent him the Beyond the Law. I'm like, stop what you're doing. You got to watch Beyond the Law. My buddy goes, his hair looks ridiculous. I'm going to put this on. So, I mean, we spread movies, man. That's what we do.
Yes, sir. Moving on, though, to our next film is another video clip, because I think this kind of encapsulates what I felt watching the film.
Bitch. Huey. You wait till you get to be a man.
The Hills Have Eyes, 1977, directed by Wes Craven, who did A Nightmare on Elm Street, Shocker, New Nightmare, and Scream 1, 2, and 3. The film stars Susan Lanier, Robert Houston, John Stedman, and Michael Berryman, and it had a budget of $230K. IMDb did not list the box office for this film. So this was inspired. This film was basically inspired by Wes Craven, by a real life incident where locals in Nevada threatened to kill him and hide his body in a salt mine, which I think is pretty crazy. This, like I said, Wrong Turn got its inspiration from this, and a lot of stuff in there from this film can be kind of shown as a homage. There's a lot of shit in here that's very, very I would say disturbing. And it disturbed me as a kid. The remake, I think, tried to grasp onto it. It was basically a straight remake. It was not really too much differing besides the character, some certain characters. But I always thought the characters in this looked creepier than the remake and new updated ones. And that's because of Michael Berryman. Like, Michael Berryman is fucking weird looking. I mean, good guy. Heard he's an awesome man, but he was born without sweat glands. And that's kind of gets to his unique look in the film. And reading about this, they filmed this in like 100-degree weather, and this guy has no sweat glands, and he's still like worked it out as a champ. He still felt his character's name is Pluto, which I was like, what the hell? And then with him and the other character in the film, where he tells him you gotta be a man, and then there's something horrible happens after that. Is it goes apeshit because he's being made fun of. The way he looked with his sharp and jagged teeth always like creeped me out too, because these people are just basically watching this family that got stranded and taking advantage of them and raping them and basically trying to kill them. It's ridiculous, and it always creeped me out as a kid because of Michael Berryman. And just looking at it now, even his face on the cover always creeps me out. Like he's got that. If he got one thing going for him, he's in two of my favorite movies. This one, and he's in The Guyver. The Guyver's not a great movie, but he plays one of the guys who turns into a monster, and I always thought it was hilarious. But yeah, what do you think about The Hills Have Eyes, Tom?
I mean, classic. You know what I mean? It is a classic. Michael Berryman is great. He's good, and also in One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest, which is crazy that he's like walking around in the back there. Again, memorable. Weird Science too. He's great in that. But back to this movie. I mean, honestly, the joke that I've made the most when I go places, like when I'd have to drive to Ball State and have to go through all those Indiana towns that not a lot of people live in. And I would say like, oh man, The Hills Have Eyes. We got to keep going. Because you just sometimes, it's, I was raised on Deliverance. So you sometimes in these places way out there, you just don't know what kind of people you're going to run into. And this movie really drives home that point. I could stand behind the remake. I thought it was serviceable enough for what they were going for. But again, Michael Berryman on the cover, and he is like, when you just talk about The Hills Have Eyes, he's the first person you think of. It's a good movie. Honestly, I'm almost finished with it. I've watched a couple times, but I'm almost done watching on HBO Last House on the Left remake, which I think I almost picked it for tonight. It's another good slasher one. But again, Wes Craven in the 70s, he was doing some pretty good, cool things.
Yeah, so the remake to me wasn't horrible. I just think it's just basically the retelling of the original film. So I like the original film, but I mean the remake's not bad.
I think what I don't, I mean, and we're going to talk about this about another pick here in a little while. I think I wish they would have been able to use like the same cameras he used for Jaws.
It's funny that you say that about cameras, because the cameras that Wes Craven used for this film were rented from a pornography guy.
That's what it feels like. So, but like, honestly, can I be fair?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple years since I've seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I said that out loud and you said porno things, now I'm like saying to myself, like, that actually sounds pretty fucking badass. Like, maybe I'll like this one more. I just think in the last 10 years, I've watched that remake more.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the cameras of the remake, like if Michael Berryman could be in that one and that one came first I'd be like, oh, this one great. I like this movie. But that's what they were going for here, though, maybe, like you said, like, and maybe that's what the budget called for. Like, I can't, like, it's like with music, you can't knock a production value when that's all you had to work with. You got to work with what the magic is of what you have.
Yeah, and props in the Cannibal Family came from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre production leftovers, which is crazy. One thing that I did like when I was doing research for this, and I do always the trivia points that I put in our notes. Susan Lanier, her character wasn't dirty enough to Wes Craven's liking. He basically made her even more dirty because he said, "You've been in the desert. You have to be dirtier." And that to me just shows you what kind of director Wes Craven is. I mean, this is not an Oscar-winning masterpiece of a film, but he cared so much about it, he tried to get rid of continuity and made it like you got to be dirty. You're in the desert, like, which to me is pretty crazy that he put that much detail into, and people would think, oh, this is a B movie or it's not gonna make a lot of money. But he didn't give a shit. It was his art, and he wanted to make sure it was correctly done, which I think is awesome.
Shout out to Dee Wallace too.
Mhm.
I mean, she's in a lot of horror movies like The Howling,
Yeah.
and Stepford Wives, and Cujo, and The Frighteners, and Lords of Salem. But again, it's cool to E.T. It's cool to. I always love in these movies too, because you got actors in it. Like I said, you could see in other movies.
Yeah, and speaking of the desert temperatures, they swung from 120 Fahrenheit in the daytime to 30 degrees Fahrenheit in the night. So it was horrible for the crew. And man,
I've been out in the sun all day, and then it's gotten cold, like the way your skin feels after sunburnt, and then it's cold. It's like hell.
Man, I feel bad for Michael Berryman, but because he has a condition where he doesn't have sweat glands. But yeah, totally creepy film. A lot of it, again, I don't know if it can be made today. There's some uncomfortable scenes in it, but it's raw. It's still kind of creepy. Michael Berryman's the worst part of the film. Well, as far as the character, though there's a lot of worse. Good, bad part of it. Yeah, this film was rated X, and Wes Craven had to cut some of it to get down to an R. So that tells you about it. But if you've seen the remake, check out the original and see where the remake got its inspiration from. But with that tone, let us move on to your next film.
That's my favorite. It's my favorite right there.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, directed by Dwight H. Little, who did Murder at 1600, Marked for Death, Rapid Fire, and The Phantom of the Opera remake. It stars Donald Pleasence, Ellie Cornell, Danielle Harris, George P. Wilbur, and Beau Starr. It had a budget of $5 million and a box office of 17.7. Tone, tell me about Halloween 4.
Where was Mr. Pleasance's Oscar? I mean, to be frankly honest, he is awesome in this movie. And when I mean awesome, it's back to the campy ridiculousness, the questioning. I like this movie a lot. If you ask me back when I first started watching all these movies, I watched this one a lot more than the first one. This one was on TV a lot more. This one just was the one that I watched a lot. And 5. I actually still have my VHS of 5 like I had when I was like 10. And I had all these buddies that were like, you got Halloween 5? Can we come over to your house and watch it? It was like it was ridiculous that this is why people wanted to come over to watch this. But this movie I think it's fun. Is it great? No. But is it fun and cheesy? Heck yeah. And is it when I got one of my first, crushes, a couple crushes in this movie? Yeah. You can just name all of the female leads in this movie, and I was like, I thought they were pretty awesome back in the day. As 8 years old. But again, fun movie. I like the beginning. My favorite thing is that whole scene at that fucking garage when he comes and like Loomis goes there and they're actually at the garage at the same time. And he just like gets in the truck and barrels out of there. It's just ridiculous, man. The movie's pure ridiculousness. Donald Pleasance, though, to think that this guy, they were able to cast him in this movie. That's where I think the remakes and the sequels, they all fluttered because they did not have Mr. Pleasance in them.
I will definitely agree with that. I think his character adds a lot to the story. as a person who saw like the evil of Michael and basically tried to keep him locked up because he saw how evil he was, even though he tried to help him at first. This film was made because they released Halloween 3. Now, Halloween was always intended to be a different story each film. Carpenter didn't like that they made him do a sequel to the first one, so he wrote the sequel most of the time drunk, and he filmed it, which I like the sequel of Halloween 2. And then Halloween 3 was made because it was more of the following of let's do a different film for like make it like a series of films, different plot. And people got really pissed in Halloween 3 that this film that Halloween 3 didn't include Michael Myers, only in the trailer when he's in the bar. People were like, well, where's Michael Myers? Where's Michael Myers? Where's Michael Myers? And that kind of drummed up enough people to come back and make this film for Halloween 4. I thought the casting of Danielle Harris was really, she does a great job in this film. She actually does a better job in the fifth one, I think, because she's mute. The fifth one, though, has some ridiculous stuff. When he's like stopped by stones or some shit in one of the endings. Donald Pleasence is like over the top, and I love it. That's what one of the things I loved about this film is that he's just over the top. You're bringing back Michael Myers because fans wanted it, and it turned out is it a great film? No, but it was kind of cool seeing him come back for this movie.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely again, it's like that 90s, got that 90s feel. Some of the way his mask looks, like in the picture on the screen, it's just he looks very like statuesque the way I mean, but again, you're talking about now you're on the fourth entry of the series. I know he wasn't in the third one, but still, a fourth of anything, for it to be enjoyable. 5 isn't as good as 4 because of what you said. I am always pissed off. I hated because I've watched 5 so many times. I was hoping whatever that entity was or the thing in the jail cell, it was going to be like the super cool. It was fucking stupid. It really was upsetting. 6 is really bad.
Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah, bad. But as far as just fun and having, I like the ending of this movie. I thought the way they ended this one. But again, the way they end this movie, and then they should have just went maybe in 5 and made her
the killer.
Instead, they made her like, oh, she just is scarred from what happened on that 4 night.
I get what they were doing.
I know.
Like they were trying to make it seem that like Pleasance, the whole thing was he didn't want Michael's evil to affect her. Like, and then that's why he screams at the end because he realizes that she's evil just like Michael. Like it's like a sickness and it's inside of her, and that's why he screams no.
What about in part 5 at the beginning when Michael like climbs out of that shed into he's like on his stomach and he climbs down into the river or whatever because he's like that guy's like helping him. I think I was just upset in 5 because Billy was taking my girl from me and I wanted to save her in the movie, and it just really Billy. Just that guy pissed me off. But okay, good movie though. Funny at times.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a funny, good film. Again, it's just made because people got pissed that Michael Myers was in part 3, and Donald Pleasence was the only person to come back from the first 2 films. Of course, they weren't going to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis until later, and then she did the horrible Halloween Ends films. We did do a deep dive of these films with my old partner back in the day, but because we saw the horrible Green films, the Peter Green remakes. What was his name? Peter Green?
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, David Green. His horrible remake. But I don't know. I prefer the 80s films. Like Pleasance was just the best part of those films. And I hated part 6 when he dies, when Michael kills him. I also I know we went on a rant. Like I thought Halloween, the last Halloween was horrible.
That was one of the worst movies I've seen.
Halloween Ends. That was just a shitty movie. But Part 6 always pissed me off because Michael Myers basically got shot in the heart in the first film by Donald Pleasance, and he lived. He gets like hit by cars and whatnot and electrocuted, and fucking Part 6 he dies because, well, he supposedly gets hurt because Paul Rudd beats him with a pipe.
Let me say this to you. I wish I could take you in my time machine to 1996, and my dad took me and my 9-year-old sister to go see that movie, and the movie ends, and like what was cool is like it ended, and this guy goes, "Well, that's the end of that shit." And the whole theater laughed like louder, like it was George Carlin just told a joke. And all I remember is my dad just being so pissed off that that movie was just god awful. Because we watched 4 and 5 all the time. So like it wasn't like he didn't watch these movies. It was like you're just looking for something comparable to 4 and 5, and 6 just wasn't it.
Yeah. Oh man. I thought it was pretty crazy when I'm doing the trivia points here, is that for Danielle Harris, they didn't want her to get scared, like the director didn't. So a lot of her stuff was kind of like, for a scene at the end, there was a stunt double used for her, to limit the intensity for her. She just had to come out with the knife and the blood on her. But like, I thought that was kind of cool that the director kind of like shielded her a little bit from the creepiness of the Essex. And to be honest with you, I like the ending of this film. I know a lot of people don't. I liked it because I thought it was pretty cool. Danielle Harris actually kept the clown suit and sold it to a fan later. She does a lot of horror conventions now. She's one of the original Scream Queens too, because she was in the Halloweens, and then she was in the remake as one of the girls that gets killed, and also she was in Roseanne.
She was in Roseanne. She was great.
Yeah, and the Connors.
And Last Boy Scout.
Yes, she was in Last Boy Scout. She had a cat that had a gun in it.
That's right.
And she got mad because she couldn't go to a party with her boyfriend Tommy.
That is right.
Why did Mr. Milo? Okay, but this deleted scene, Tony, featured Michael trying on a Ronald Reagan mask before choosing his usual one.
Oh, they should have went that route.
Oh, Ronald Reagan, man. This is her film debut for Danielle Harris. The film was shot in March with artificial methods used to simulate fall. Makeup artist Ken Horn had to correct mask that came out in pink with white hair. I think this film has the fifth one has one of Michael's masks is pink. George Wilbur was 47. He played the 31-year-old Michael. John Carl Buechler handled additional gore effects, including the thumb and the forehead kill, which I thought was kind of cool. And then a blonde hair mask was mistakenly used in the school scene due to a reshot issue. Yeah, you could tell they did not care. And like I said, when they were trying to comfort Danielle Harris, George P. Wilbur would lift his mask between takes to comfort Danielle Harris and remind her it was just a movie. So they tried to, show it, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, it's hilarious that you picked this film because I couldn't go without the screaming of Donald Pleasance.
I love that.
No.
Wish that could be my ringer.
I'll send you the file. You can add it up.
Please.
But yeah, ridiculousness. But we got 2 left, and our last 2 is number 9. Number 9.
It is all the more tragic in that they were young. But had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as they were to see that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, he already said the name of the film. It was released in 1974, directed by Toby Hooper, who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Toolbox Murders, Jin. Supposedly he did this movie called Poltergeist, but there's a lot of debate on that. Life Force, The Fun House, and the TV version of Salem's Lot, which I really enjoyed. So I picked this film because when you talk slashers in the summer, you cannot not talk about one of the OGs, the person that started the slasher franchise in terms of so many ways, to a new level, in my opinion. It was based off a true story, is what I remember all the posters used to say, even though it's loosely based on a Gein. It was just a creepy ass film when I first watched it, with Leatherface, the main character, or Junior, as they call him, with this cannibalistic family that barbecues their kills. The characters in it just freaked me the hell out. The hitchhiker was weird looking. When he talks about head cheese, I almost used the head cheese. My brother makes good head cheese. I almost used that, as a lead into this film. It starred Marilyn Burns, Edwin Neal, Alan Denzinger, Paul A. Patron, William Vale, Terry McMinn, Jim Sideout, and Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface. It had a budget of $140K and made a box office of $30.9 million. That is ridiculous. The opening credits always got me. The opening monologue, which we just heard, I actually liked the second one as well. The monologue for that one is actually very, very done very, very well. Toby Hooper got the idea from the film while Christmas shopping and spotting a chainsaw in a hardware store tone.
Ooh.
Like, what the hell? Again, another film that was shot in horrible conditions. It was over 120 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas weather. But it's just crazy. And the thing that always stuck out to me later, Tone, is that monologue in the beginning is by John Larroquette, who's you might know from Night Court.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asked by Toby Hooper to do the voiceover in an Orson Welles type way. And I thought he nailed it.
He did.
It's a complete crazy film. If you haven't seen this, you've been living under a rock. So many memorable characters. It spawned so many franchises. The sequel to this film is actually pretty decent in my opinion. I liked it because it was more campy, but I actually enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. The sequels after that file weren't that great, and then I had some okay prequel stuff and remakes, but the original is always the best. And like I said, you can't talk slasher without mentioning this film. I could go on for another 20 minutes rambling, Tone, but tell me what you think about it.
Gritty. And I think because of it being so gritty, it feels so real. Like it's another one of those feelings like Back to the Strangers where I don't really feel like Freddy's real. I love Freddy and I love Jason and I love you. Well, Michael Myers is a little bit more, but this feels about as real as all these characters get. And sometimes, like you said earlier, even back, like I went and bought this DVD as soon as I think I could, and just because, just to see it in the DVD quality back before they even had Blu-rays, and I always found it really cool when you can get the widescreen movies like this, but it's really gritty. So it looks, but it's like clear because it's a DVD at the time or a Blu-ray now, or if you're watching on link, but like the movie's just so gritty, like The Hills Have Eyes. It's cool that the small budget was able to translate for so many people to see this one.
Yeah, and it had little gore in the film, but it received an X rating and was banned in multiple countries, which I think is ridiculous. Coming from like movie icons and directors like Guillermo del Toro said he became a vegetarian after watching this film. Quentin Tarantino has called it one of the few perfect movies ever made. Ridley Scott cited this film as an inspiration to Alien, calling it Chainsaw in Space. And in 2024, the film was added to the U.S. National Film Registry for preservation. It's one of those films that just blew up, that was set, like it had a good story, great acting, low budget, but it worked within its budget to make it such a great film. Still creepy. The dinner scene always creeped me out with the grandpa that they try to give its blood to, and then like it made me want to know more about the family. I know they the prequels and whatnot kind of touched on that. Like I want to know, like I wish they could do it more true to the family. Like who was the grandfather? Like why did he like blood? And you know, the brother, why was he like deformed in the face? You know, why were they obsessed with head cheese? So and that's the funny thing too is head cheese was the original title for this film until they changed it to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I thought was hilarious. But the original house was later moved and restored and turned into a restaurant.
Interesting.
So if we ever go down to Texas, we gotta go down there. Yeah, it's.
What do you think of the remake of this one?
It's not the original, of course. It was okay. Jennifer Beal. One thing I don't understand, like, and this is just me being nitpicky. Why, when they have a country movie, like a movie set in the country or the open, why the fuck they always gotta play Sweet Home Alabama? Like, is that like the anthem of film set in like?
I was thinking this too, honestly. I was even like in a lot of movies. I wonder if there's just like songs you can get cheap. Like, you know, like this is a song you can use for the cheap. You know what I mean? Because people always just use it. Good question. Interesting. Have to find
And I mean, I know they're going to go see Skynyrd, but you could use a different Skynyrd song that would have worked.
They could have.
Like, there's so many other Skynyrd songs. You could play Freebird.
It's true.
But
it would have been ironic because they weren't going to be so free pretty soon.
Yeah. It cracks me up because when he's driving, when what's his name? The drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
Harley Ermey, yeah.
Harley Ermey. He's driving the kid around. He's like, "Where are you going? Where are your guys heading?" He's like, "Oh, we're going to a concert." He's like, "Who?" He's like, "Skynyrd." He's like, "Hell, I like Skynyrd." He's like, "Yeah, you can have the tickets." And he like smashes his head against the chair. I'm like, damn, like he was creepy in that film too. I thought Lee Emery was awesome in that film. But the characters, I think, in the original, like they left so much for you to why are they like this? And I think I wish they would have expanded upon that, like the grandfather or something. Now there might be something in the works. I don't know. I'm not telling you guys any new information or anything like that, but I would hope that they can keep to the original premise and try to build off that. That would be kind of cool to see where it ended up at. But like Leatherface has become such an iconic character. Dead by Daylight has a character. You know, they had a game released to him recently that was for Xbox Live that still gets played where you're actually running away from the whole family. Gunnar Hansen was very upset that people decided to play Leatherface. He that he feels like he was the only person that should be playing Leatherface. And most of the grunts that Leatherface does is recorded by Toby Hooper himself, so it's Toby Hooper doing the grunting. But yeah, just one of the creepiest characters. I love this shot of him, especially when he gets frustrated when the person runs into his house and he goes ape shit, and like he's looking, you see all the chicken bones and everything there, and he's running around and he sits and starts licking his teeth. Like you can tell he's like he's mentally ill. Like I thought that was great acting for somebody that doesn't talk.
Yeah, it was.
And then in the next film, he falls in love with a girl named Stretch. But yeah, just a crazy film, Tom.
Very crazy.
Oh, also John Larroquette was paid for his narration with a joint of marijuana.
Quite the payment to be remembered forever in a beginning of.
Probably right now he's probably like, son of a bitch, I should have took money or royalties.
Should have took a piece of the film.
But like I said, I couldn't I couldn't leave out a list without the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in it.
No, not at all.
So moving on to our final film, Tone, and I'm really happy you picked this film. I haven't seen it in a very long time. But let's get to it.
Gas stations have cigarettes. What about gas? I don't need gas.
I don't need gas.
1986 is The Hitcher, directed by Robert Harmon, who did Eyes of an Angel, Nowhere to Run with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Gotti, if you haven't seen Gotti, which is an HBO movie with Armando Massante, the best Gotti film, probably one of the best mob films I've ever seen. Check it out if you haven't. And he also did They. It stars Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Jeffrey Demon. It had a box office of 5.8 million with a $6 million budget. Tell me why you picked The Hitcher.
Creepy, super creepy. Rutger Hauer. I think he does a great job in this movie. First, as a kid, I'm like, what's a hitcher? It's a hitchhiker. It's just it's a smaller, it's like a shorter term than saying hitchhiker. But just the way some of this movie is shot, through the desert, the way Rutger Hauer he's just creepy. I mean, especially if you've seen him in Blade Runner before this, he doesn't have a hard time coming across as creepy. We mentioned him earlier. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Yumper. If you haven't, you ever seen Nighthawks with
No.
Sly Stallone? It's Sly Stallone and Billy D. Williams are cops, and Rutger Hauer's the bad guy. Again, Rutger Hauer we could talk about Rutger Hauer all day long. In this movie, you could see why we would talk about him all day long. Jennifer Jason Leigh is cool because, we know her from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So she's pretty good in this movie. C. Thomas Howell, we got him pretty much like he just walked off of The Outsiders set. And honestly, it's just kind of a cat and mouse game between this creepy serial killer and he's chasing them through the desert. And, it's one of those movies like we talked about earlier when we were talking about the movie theater experiences, just the movie experience in general. It's hard to forget this one when you see it at like 9 years old for the first time and being creeped out.
Definitely. So Rutger Hauer is, like we mentioned before, an awesome character actor. A person, again, who doesn't get his flowers enough. He should be mentioned more when it comes to great character actors. Speaking of C. Thomas Howell, he did The Outsiders, and then he did this film, which was released in February of 1986. And then he made his career suicide with Soul Man, which was released in later in the year. And if you don't know what Soul Man is, look it up. His acting in this film, that's Rutger Hauer, his acting is phenomenal. I was almost going to use a line where he's in his police interrogation and they asked him, what were you doing? Where are you going? And he said Disneyland. The way he says Disneyland and the way he looks at him always is like, he knocked it out of the park with this one. He did a lot of his own stunt driving. He's pressing the stunt crew for this. One crazy thing, Tone, was of all the trivia points I read was George W. Bush was on the board of the company that financed this film.
Oh,
and then he later used it to critique his stance on Hollywood violence. What an asshole. But yeah, it's one of these films that doesn't get talked about a lot. It's another film that has a lot of real life listen to it, where you pick up a hitcher that's fucking psycho, which is why people always said don't pick up hitchers. I thought, speaking of reviews and how they're subjective, Roger Ebert gave this film 0 stars and called it deeply cynical, citing its hidden subtext of gay panic and sadomasochism.
What? It's funny as you're reading that, I'm like looking at it. It's just Siskel said a nauseating thriller and a thinly veiled but more gruesome ripoff of Spielberg's Duel.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. But
that's what makes, back to Ebert, he also said he didn't like it because the killer had no backstory or even a motive. Well, let's really be honest now. A lot of movies, millions of movies don't have either of those now, and people love them. So maybe this is like you don't need to know, why did I need to know how he killed before he was a killer at this part? I think that's what made it so creepy to me. You didn't know shit.
I mean, see, that argument, and I love Ebert, to me is stupid because what was Hannibal Lecter's backstory and why was he a killer? He was a psychiatrist, and yes, it was a cannibal for certain, but why? They didn't really say his backstory, just call him in Silence of the Lambs,
A nasty piece. Someone said it. This was a nasty piece of angst for the age of AIDS. What? Maybe we just didn't watch the same movie. I don't know. Maybe my mind hasn't thought about it.
I didn't get that feeling from it. It has a high rating of 7.2 on IMDb, which.
Well, here we go. I got a better source here. Christopher Nolan cited it as one of his favorite films. As a teenager, I never questioned the logic of the 80s chiller, but now it seems mind-bendingly arbitrary plot-wise.
Yeah, I think
it's
I don't know.
Creepy. It's creepy with a bad remake.
There was a remake for this film?
Yeah, Sean Bean plays him. You never seen it?
No, well, obviously not. No.
2007. Sean Bean, Sophia Bush, Neil McDonough. It made 2 times its budget back. But again,
I'm just looking into this to see why they were calling it all those things. Well, they're saying that Ryder is a gay predator. Some critics view Ryder as a terrifying representation of a perceived predatory gay figure. He relentlessly pursued Jim and threats to his ability to live a normal heterosexual life as seeing. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer was a gay serial killer, so.
But I just never saw that. I mean, is it because he tied Jennifer, what's her name, to the car and pulled her up? But like, I didn't think of that like that. I mean, that's not what I don't think the directors were going for. And when people could create these kind of like.
It says here, Ryder as a representation of Jim's repressed sexuality. Another interpretation suggests that Ryder might represent Jim's own unrepressed or unexplored sexuality, and his violent confrontation with Ryder is seen as a battle against his inner demons. I think you're kind of go digging a little too deep on that one, my man.
Well, it's like those when we do the thoughts after the movie, when people can just sit and write, you could just write.
Oh yeah, when we do the theories.
Yes, that's like it's just a theory. Okay, it's not true, but hey, it's interesting though. That's what I'm glad you shared it.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy who wrote it, his name is Eric Red, which I always thought that was funny because his last name is Red. But if you haven't seen it, check out The Hitcher. It's that part with Jennifer Jason Leigh. It
is.
It's ridiculous. Again, it was another film that had an X rating, but they removed some parts from it to get below that. And again, this is before C. Thomas Howell decided to commit career suicide with Soul Man.
It's true.
What the hell made him think about doing Soul Man? Like, what made reading that even in the 80s? What that made you think that was going to be a good film? Like, I don't understand that. Like, what made you think like, oh, I'm gonna be 10, I'm African American, like for a film? That's like the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
Well, there's a whole lot of people that go into that. We could start with the director, Stephen Miner, who directed a couple Friday the 13th movies, H2O, Lake Placid, Day of the Dead. Why was the script even greenlit? You know what I mean? There's a whole lot. We can go into it in a later time.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
But and to be fair, it made 10 times its budget back. So
I mean, yeah, but
what it is it's back to what you said again. This was a time period where people didn't really say anything about this. Now that it's because this movie used to play on Comedy Central all the time too. Now, Comedy Central, if it was around, you think they'd play Soul Man? No. So again, things changed. People's ideas changed, and it should never happen to begin with. But again, Leslie Nielsen's in it. Ray Dong Chong is in it, who is African American. So again,
James Earl Jones is in it too.
James Earl Jones. So let's be really honest with each other. Again, they were. I mean, you know what I mean. It's a whole lot of different things.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But that I'm gonna stop ranting about Soul Man. But that is our final movie of the night. We went through all slashers that we thought kind of coincide a little bit with the I Know What You Did Last Summer new release. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Let me know if it's getting good, guys. Tony, I know you're gonna see it, so you'll probably text me. Let me know. Any final thoughts, my man, before we move on?
No. a lot of good movies covered tonight. Go back and check them all out. I was just thought in my mind, the only movie that doesn't have a sequel, a prequel, or anything is Green Room that we discussed tonight. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and they're gonna make like 8 sequels. But thank you guys for checking this out. This was a fun one. Tone, we got some big news for our next show. Let me play our little coming soon intro to that, and you can tell the good folks of the listening world and viewing world of what we're gonna be doing next.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Coming soon.
Próximamente.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
All right, coming up, we got coming next week. We will be back next Friday, and we were going to be talking the 50th anniversary of Jaws. The poster right behind me, the classic. Had it on last night. The great Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss.
Chiefy.
It's going to be good. You're might need a bigger boat. It's going to be great.
Like dog's eyes. Yeah, literally looking forward to that. I know Jaws has been talked about a lot, but you know what? It's one of those films that started the summer blockbuster. It was a horror film that started the summer blockbuster. It has one of the best themes for a character by John Williams. Awesome. Also directed by Steven Spielberg, who might have done Poltergeist. But great setting. It made you afraid to go in the water. Gory, and it made sharks cool.
Very true.
So looking forward to doing our deep dive, and I'll look into some fan theories as well next week if I can find any good ones. With that, Tony, before we get to our final segment of the Sugar Baggies soundtrack pick of the week, just want to let everybody know, thank you so much for checking us out and watching, listening, reading, commenting, bantering with us on films, music, and all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. Heads up, Brian said he will be back soon. He's been really swamped at work for getting drafty in here, but Tony has been a man that has been on a mission, working and shelling out a lot of cool stuff. You just released a new Hookup on Music. Tone, tell us what it's about.
We talked the brand new Deftones that just got released, and in movie soundtrack news, 9 Inch Nails just released a brand new song yesterday from the new Tron movie. I was a big fan of the last Tron when Daft Punk did the soundtrack. It's going to be pretty cool. This new one that's coming out, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the soundtrack, so they put together a new 9 Inch Nails song for it. Sounds pretty good. Check that out. Talked a lot of other awesome stuff. This just really cool digging into. Lord Huron came out with a new album that's going to be on next week's episode. Also been digging through the James Bond film series. We just covered Thunderball, me and Adam. And honestly, a lot of ridiculousness in that film series to come, so tune into that. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, my friend. And speaking of the Hookup on Music, we have a shop. I don't know if you heard, at SadisticPenguinStudios.com/shop. And there we have our new Hookup on Music sticker or decal, which I thought was a pretty cool design with for Tone.
I love them.
With our angry penguin with a guitar. It comes in 2 sizes, and it's pretty cheap. It's only, I believe, $3.23.
Very cool.
$3.23. We also have a Sadistic Penguin Studios shirt. We're not gonna do a lot of shirts because one, they don't sell a lot, but for this one, we decided to update a logo on it. I do like it in the red. I actually ordered it in red for myself. I think it's a cool little design. Different from
Katie one of those garden flags for our garden.
Yes, and we do have the anti-ice sticker along with the button shirt. All proceeds go to the National Immigration Justice Center, which I will be pulling these soon. So if you want them, head over to SadisticPenguinStudios.com/shop to buy them. We also have the Andy Uguni sticker, which is based off our little plug that we throw in there. We have the I'm broke as hell, which kind of represents a lot of people, and we have a cool one that I was thinking about with MTV. And since we do a lot of Penguin stuff, I want my PTV, which I thought was pretty, yeah. So I might do a Money or Nothing kind of spinoff with Tony, cover by us doing I Want My PTV.
I want my PTV.
And then we have Brian banging on the drums. But yeah, be sure to check out sadisticpenguinstudios.com/shop for our new stickers, buttons, and stuff like that. All the proceeds do go to help the show. Besides the anti-ice ones, those actually go to charity. Those will be being pulled off soon. In about 2 weeks, I'll be pulling them off from the shop. But if you like the stickers, let us know what you think about them. They're good quality. I have my own coming soon. But with that tone, just want to thank everybody again for listening, watching, and viewing. And I will be done rambling, my friend, and hand it over to you for the Sugar Baggies soundtrack pick of the week. The Sugar Baggies soundtrack pick of the week.
You brought the movie up earlier, and it's so shocking that you did, because I almost was going to give up that was my soundtrack pick of the week. End of Days. The End of Days soundtrack is my soundtrack pick of the week, released in 1999. Why was this soundtrack so special? Because, man, everyone was waiting for that new Guns N' Roses song that you just heard right there. It was like the big, big song, and boy, a lot of people were disappointed when they heard it, because it was industrial, and it didn't sound like the Guns N' Roses that they knew of. But when you look back at it, it is still pretty cool that Guns N' Roses was able to do that. They were able to go ahead and take that and add that into their whole entire spectrum. So, but digging into the soundtrack, which it's crazy, 26 years this year in November, it has been released. You had Korn starting it off with the Camel song. That song's pretty good. Everlast doing So Long. You had Limp Bizkit doing Crushed. You had The Prodigy doing Poison. Rob Zombie doing Super Beast, which ironically, when I was cutting lawn today, it was on the mixed playlist. Power Man 5000, which if you did not know, that is Rob Zombie's brother is the singer of that band.
Spider.
They are on the same soundtrack. You have Eminem doing Bad Influence, Sonic Youth, Sugarcane, and boy, what an out-of-place band last is Creed, who's actually playing Alpine Valley tomorrow. So again, quite the soundtrack. It went all the way to 20 on the Billboard Top 200. Movie, not the best, not the worst.
A few movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger dies in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's dark. It's a dark film. But, you know, a soundtrack that mixes alternative metal, industrial rock, new metal, hip-hop, does a pretty good job, I think.
Yep. Be sure to check it out. The film, and actually the soundtrack is really, really good. I'm glad you picked this one, my friend. It is kind of funny that I mentioned End of Days, but you cannot tell me Jack Black did not look like that guy.
He does. And that's why I didn't want to be like, we're on the same page. I picked the soundtrack.
But usually it's kind of funny that it ends up that way. But I went to go see his film in theaters, believe it or not.
Hey, I don't blame you.
But yeah, it was one of the first, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger dies at the end. Sorry, I spoiled it. It's 26 years old. Oh, well. But yeah, ridiculous movie. But great soundtrack, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, that is our show. We are over the 2-hour and 20-minute limit. So, Cotton, you got some work to do to catch up, my friend. Want to shout out to everybody. Thank you again for watching. Shout out to my son. His birthday is Sunday. He turns the big ripo age of 9.
Oh, happy birthday.
So we will be celebrating that with family. And Tona, looking forward to discussing Jaws with you next week.
Can't wait, my man. It's going to be a good time.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week, and peace out.
Thanks for listening to the At the Show podcast, a Sadistic Penguin Studios production.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
Do you think that album kind of blew